Welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos. Have I got an astonishing video to share with you tonight and some remarkable analysis. 3i Atlas has transmitted a message, and this message was received in Chile with the satellite technology they have, and they've translated the message. Let me share this incredibly interesting material, and then I will share with you my analysis from a critical thinking point of view, and we will compare the differences, if there are any.
Do you hear that yesterday 3i Atlas sent a message to space, and it is throwing the scientific community into a tizzy, and you won't believe what the message says. I'm going to tell you, but do you think we should respond back to it, or do you think it's dangerous? So as you know, 3i Atlas is that interstellar object that is passing right by Earth in November. And the world's top scientists have been saying, hey, look, this doesn't seem like an asteroid. It doesn't look like a comet. It actually looks like it may be an alien craft, an alien vehicle from a different galaxy. Well, the satellite dishes in Chile yesterday received the message, and the head scientist there said it was like a Morse code-esque message. It was radio frequency, and we didn't know how to interpret it or crack the code, is what he said. So they ended up plugging it into ChatGPT and saying, hey, can you solve this? And it did, and it spit out what the message is saying. And it says, hello, friends. Don't be worried. Don't be scared. We watch Earth. We watch you. We return to elevate Earth. And then it went silent for a bit. And at the end it said, hang tight, friends. Hang tight, friends. Twice in a row.
So there you have it. I said there has been no message transmitted. And now we're finding out that indeed the satellites down in Chile received that message and translated it. And that's what it came out as. Proof that 3i Atlas is a spaceship with aliens aboard, isn't it? How do we test these claims? Now understand, this isn't proof. This is a claim being made by this gentleman whose name is Scott Whitehead. Now, the men of letters, the two gentlemen who played this, I have not seen their full podcast. I do not know how they responded, and I do not care. This is my response to Whitehead in this short. So this is a superb, I can't think of a better example of how critical thinking can sift through the true from the false. And it is an exquisite claim that we have here that everybody should want to test. But how do we go about testing this claim? As I thought about this, I realized, hey, I have ChatGPT 5.0. I'm going to ask it about this situation. I will share what I asked ChatGPT. So here is my comment to Chat. A YouTube short video from Men of Letters podcast used a claim of a man named Scott Whitehead where he said a satellite dish in Chile received a Morse code-esque type message, and the Chilean scientists used GPT to translate it. You did translate it according to this source. The message reads, "Hello, friends. Don't be worried. Don't be scared. We watch Earth. We watch you. We return to elevate Earth." And at the end, it said twice, "Hang tight, friends. I would like you to search every available source you have the power to. Take your time and show me your source you translated from and how you translated and why you translated that message out from 3i Atlas. Whitehead says you were given the code from Chile, a satellite dish from there." Now, normally, Chat 5.0, with some of the most complex, rigorous mathematics I give it, and or a physics problem, and or a philosophical conundrum that I want to work through with chat, it will take 3 to 5 seconds, and it will give me sensational answers. And I can cross-check those answers with other sources that I have. It thought for 1 minute, 57 seconds, which for this thing is a very long time. Short answer, there's no credible evidence that a Chilean disk received a Morse-like signal from 3i Atlas or that GPT translated it. So where does this type of claim come from? It traces back to viral social clips. There is no paper. There is no data set. There is no observatory notice or instrument log behind it. That will become important here in a few minutes. What I found with receipts, in other words, I'll give you the evidence of your issue here. The viral origin, the exact "hello friends, hang tight friends" wording appears in short form videos attributed to Scott Whitehead and copied by social accounts, including men of letters. Example, Reels posts repeat the Chili dish, the Morse code, the Chat GPT translation storyline verbatim on Instagram. So just because it's on Instagram does not make it factual. I'm just sharing the idea here. So clickbait write-ups cite those clips, not data. The People's Voice, which is a low credibility rumor site, amplified the story. And it even says the original post came from a Facebook user named Scott Whitehead, but provides no frequencies, no timestamps, no instrument, or no raw signal. Scott Whitehead is spinning a yarn with literally no evidence whatsoever. What the real science says about 3i Atlas, NASA, MPC, Neuer Lab, mainstream space press describe it as a perfectly natural interstellar comet with recent images and spectroscopic detections. There are no messages so far. So the recent coverage debunking alien craft claims, NASA scientists publicly refuted speculative engineered object takes. None mention any received transmissions whatsoever. They got that from The Guardian. About that satellite dish in Chile, NASA's Deep Space Network, the thing that actually talks to spacecraft, has sites in California, Spain, and Australia, not Chile. Now, Chile's big dishes, the ALMA, are radio telescopes doing interferometric astronomy, not a comms downlink that would receive a reply from a comet. This is what Scott Woodward, or Scott, Whitehead, doesn't grasp, apparently. He thinks he can just spin a yarn and we're all just going to believe every fairy tale he says. Did I translate anything? No. I don't have a memory of having been given any code by Chilean scientists. I can't find any public record of such a handoff. Also, I am not directly connected to observatories. So the only way I translate Morse code is if a user pastes the actual dot-bit stream here. There's no posted code. There's no spectrum. There's no audio to translate in any of the circulating claims. All we get on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, etc., is just a captioned story. And for those of you who are wondering, to the backyard professor, that's not good enough. Now, what real evidence would look like? And this is fascinating because this is worldwide, and all of the observatories worldwide are instantly and always in communication with each other. That's something else that Whitehead obviously is entirely ignorant of, and it kills his credibility even further. He didn't have any to begin with, but now he's in the hole. If a group truly decoded a signal, you would expect at least some of the following, and none of this exists for this claim of a message being translated by ChatGPT. Instrument and setup. The array station name. He didn't give it. No one does. The frequency band. That's critically important. Nobody's mentioned that. The bandwidth. Nobody's mentioned that. The integration time and the UTC timestamps. Now, I asked it about some of these things here in a minute that I will get to. It also would show raw and processed data. In other words, waterfall plots, time series, and FFTs. Don't worry, I ask it to describe what those are too, and we will get to that. It would also have a reproducible decode path from signal, symbols, text. None of the stories of this interstellar message transmission has any of this, yet it would also have independent confirmations. In other words, we would have astronomers' telegram, we would have MPC circulars, we would have ArcXIV preprint, or we would have the SETI Institute breakthrough listen notices. We have literally none of that, and yet that is what they would be more than happy to share if it had happened. That is, in Chile. So the bottom line, the hang tight friend story is a social media rumor. Bullshit. That's what it is. And it has snowballed. There's no primary data behind it, which means it's not believable. All credible sources continue to treat 3I Atlas as a natural interstellar comet with no communications reported from anyone that has any credibility of any kind. If you can get the supposed raw code, even a time-stamped dot dash line or an audio clip, drop it here and I'll decode it on the spot and show every step. That is what these guys should be showing. If the Chilean scientists had done this, this is what they would have put out. And Scott Whitehead would have had this access to this information, and he could have put it out. We have nothing like this. Until then, the claim that ChatGPT translated a message from 3i Atlas has no evidentiary support, and the latest credible 3i Atlas coverage stories are in The Guardian. It's called Interstellar Overhype. NASA debunks claim about alien-made comet from 4 days ago, and livescience.com, where they talk about the interstellar comet 3i Atlas could be turning bright green, surprising new photos reveal. And I ask it, what does UTC timestamps in your real evidence section refer to, please? That's a great question, amigo, and an important one. This is what real evidence would look like. This is under his section on real evidence. UTT timestamps, universal time coordinated stamps. They're the precise standardized way astronomers and engineers log when a signal, an event, or observation happened. Why is this used? Because it gives global consistency. Astronomers all over the world need to compare their data, and UTC avoids confusion from local time zones or daylight savings shifts. That's why it's used. The exact synchronization, now with telescopes and satellites and spacecraft and ground stations, all log events down to fractions of a second. If one dish in Chile and one in Hawaii see the same blip, you can line them up only if both are time-stamped in the universal time system. The astronomy standard, things like comet observations, gamma ray bursts, or pulsar timings, they are always published in UTC so others can replicate or cross-check them. And none of this is at any other kind of observatory from all over the world. If it had been, they would have communicated it. That's what we're missing in this story. An example in practice. Let's say a Chilean dish claimed a Morse-like signal at 2025-09-15, 03.41.22 UTC. Another telescope in Australia could check if they saw the same thing at exactly the same universal second. If it's real, timestamps from multiple sites should match within milliseconds. So you see, this is being observed worldwide by more than just one station all by itself down in Chile. Everyone would have known that the signal was given in Morse code and that Chile translated it using ChatGPT, and no one knows anything about it. If only one dish reports it while others see nothing, it's likely just noise or local interference. And this is how we keep a lid on it. This is how we're able to cross-check and either confirm or refute claims being made, both on Earth or in the sky. So when I said raw evidence would include UTC timestamps, I meant without that universal clock reference, you can't independently verify or reproduce a claimed signal. That's why they all use it down to milliseconds in many places all over the world. And this is fantastic news. Then I ask, you also said raw and processed data, e.g. waterfall plots, time series, FFTs. What are FFTs? I'm showing my ignorance here. And in a sentence or two, nothing major for now, describe what waterfall plots are as well as time series. Again, thank you so kindly for your stellar help. Get it? Stellar help? Yeah, well, okay. Proceed to share your knowledge, laughing out loud. Stellar help indeed. I see what you did there, amigo. Love it. So FFT, what is FFT? Fast Fourier transform. Now, what does that mean? What is it? It's a math algorithm that breaks a signal into its component frequencies. It's like turning a jumble of sound into a spectrum showing the notes being played, and this is critically helpful. A waterfall plot is a scrolling color graph, and this shows frequency on one axis, time on the other axis, and signal strength as brightness or color. It's like watching how a radio signal drifts or changes over time. Very, very helpful and useful. The other instrument that we use is time series. Just as a signal strength or another measurement plotted against time point by point, the simplest way to see patterns, pulses, or anomalies. So it asked me if I wanted to see a graph, and I said, well, so all of these are available by scientists all over the world. Yes, exactly right. These three, FFTs, water plots, and time series, are the bread and butter of signal analysis, and they're used by scientists all over the world in radio astronomy, which tracks pulsars, FRBs, and quasars. It's used in SETI research, searching for narrowband artificial signals. It's used in spacecraft communications, NASA and ESA ground stations. It's used in seismology and medicine. Earthquake signals, EEGs, ECGs, same math, just different waves. This is how they use it. They're universal because anytime you've got a changing signal, sound, light, radio, seismic, whatever kind of signal that changes, we need tools to examine it in time and frequency. Now that makes perfect sense, really. The cool part, many observatories like Green Bank, Parks, or Chime, and even citizen science projects, SETI at home back in the day, or Breakthrough Listens Open Data, they publish their FFTs, their waterfall plots, and their time series openly so others can verify or reanalyze them. In other words, we would be able to publicly get all of this information about that transmission that happened in Chile, supposedly, from their FFTs, their waterfall plots, and their time series, because it's open source. And every other station around the world could have used all that data, and that would have been the only thing on the news everywhere. But it's only on social media without any of this scientific instrumentation, calibration, and knowledge in use. In other words, it's pure bull hockey. So if Chile or anywhere else truly got a Morse code from space, the raw time series, FFT, and waterfall plots would be the first thing released for the global community to scrutinize. Without those, it's just a story. And it's an entirely concocted, made-up piece of verbal masturbation by Scott Whitehead. And that's what I wanted to share with you tonight on the 3i Atlas. Now, there are claims being made about 3i Atlas, and this is the big topic that I'm going to focus on for the next couple of weeks while it comes closer and closer to Mars and whizzes on by it. And I'm going to share the analysis. I'm going to share the claims. I'm going to share if the science backs it up or not. And I'm going to analyze it because this story is worldwide. It's a very cool thing that is happening to our world right now. The scientists are not terrified. They are elated. They are thrilled that this thing is here and we can study it. So, of course, their focus is not going to be on the numbskull, dead brain less idiots like Scott Whitehead's cock and bull story. They're going to be focused on gathering data of this 3i Atlas because it is in a hyperbolic arc. And what that means is it's going to come in, it's going to go around the sun, and it's going to disappear forever. It's never coming back, ever. That's what hyperbola is, the hyperbolic arc, for those of you who've studied the mathematics of it. So this is the importance of not mocking the claims, at least not until you've checked. In checking, which is so ironic because the claim is ChatGPT was used. Well, Chat 5.0 can go search trillions of sources out there online. If anything had been published, and it would have been published not only by the Chile group, but any of the other scientific observatories, they would have published the FFTs, the waterfall plots, and the time series instantly, and then they could all compare and check. ChatGPT would have found those. It found nothing because there is nothing there, because there is nothing to this story. And those of you, if any of you happen to know Scott Whitehead, can say the Backyard Professor has called you out and you are pure phony. You are a fake. And that's my assessment based on very interesting data and analysis from the same instrument that was claimed to translate that fake transmission. So thanks for watching the Backyard Professor Responds videos. I'm having a blast doing these. Hit the like, subscribe button. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do that through PayPal. Or contact me on email and we can work out something. And I do appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the enthusiasm and the love and the fun we have in learning, and not only learning, but learning how to think and think properly and think critically and keep ourselves safe from chicantery, hooligans, and outright liars. And that's critical in our day to do that. So have a great night, and I will catch up to you soon as I find more to share with you.